I'm Lisa Horton. I'm out here in the sagebrush today with Ion Sun Valley to introduce you to some more wildflowers. So first we will talk about one that you won't soon forget, especially if you have to throw away your socks because you couldn't pick all the little prickly seeds out. And by the way, when you pull them all off, don't just drop them beside the trail or in your yard because soon you'll have forget-me-nots just like these. So another name for this forget-me-not is stick seed, and it's very well named. You know, I've heard a lot of stories about the origin of Velcro, but I would almost bet this has to have been one that would have inspired me to invent it, and I certainly wish I had. The stick seed, or forget-me-not, is pretty common out here in the sagebrush, also found in some wetter places, and can have bigger flowers than this, maybe in less stressful conditions. There's also a white version, which is a different species. This is the genus Hakelia, and it is a member of the borage family. We talked about bluebells previously and how the flowers are 5 petals that are fused together for part of their length, and then they go like this, like a trumpet. So you can see that shape in this stick seed flower, and you can also see that it has this sort of a white ring at the base of the petals and a yellow down inside the floral tube. A very distinctive flower, has these strap-shaped leaves that are pretty hairy, like other members of the borage family. So look for this stick seed, and especially don't get into it with your socks, but a beautiful blue flower, rare blue color to come across out in the sagebrush habitat like this. Another really common wildflower out here in the sagebrush this time of year in late May is the prickly phlox. It forms these tight ground-hugging cushions, and the flowers tend to float right up on the top of the leaves. And if you poke the leaves with your hand, you'll see why it's called prickly phlox. It has quite sharp little points. If you look out across the landscape this year, you'll see what you think are white rocks out on the hillsides, and they are clumps of prickly phlox. You can look for them. You'll think, I didn't know there were white rocks up there, and sure enough, they're clumps of phlox. Being in the phlox family, prickly phlox shows the characteristics of phlox. There are 5 petals, and they are united into a floral tube and then released into a trumpet shape. And so we have the 5 petals showing here on the top, and if you notice, down inside the tube is a pale yellow color. And none of the male and female parts show. They're all down inside the tube. That is a phlox characteristic. We have a couple of other phloxes here in the valley. One of them we'll talk about in a minute is the longleaf phlox, which is a little larger and can be quite pink. This can tend towards a really light blue color sometimes. And then, of course, the scarlet gilia, which has this same flower shape and is bright red. The phlox that we spoke of a few minutes ago, the prickly phlox or cushion phlox, is Phlox pulvinata meaning cushion-like. But this phlox is Phlox longifolia, and you can probably guess that means long leaves. Look how long and beautifully, elegantly tapered these leaves are. It's the same kind of flower shape. They're slightly larger. They tend to be pinker. In fact, they can be quite pink. And the petals can be a little broader, generally 5, although I'm seeing one poorly behaved phlox plant right here that has 6 petals, but we'll just put that one down and not talk about that. True to the phlox family, there are 5 petals, that are united into a tube down here with the sepals behind them. And if you look just right in the top of the tube, you'll see the anthers, the yellow pollen parts of the male parts. You see these two types of phlox in the same kinds of habitats at the same time of year. This one can be from this size up to maybe 18 inches, something like that. But the stems are not terribly woody, and they can lean into the sagebrush for support. So two members of the phlox family out here today, the prickly phlox and the longleaf phlox. We're going to take a brief pause. We'll be right back.
When life calls for necessary add-ons, your home can pitch in to help with a new home equity line of credit from D.L. Evans Bank. This is living on a whole new level. This is community banking.
Better food, better price, better service. Atkinson's Market, supporting local farmers since 1956.
I moved out to Idaho 4 years ago, so I met a lot of people, and I really, really like it here. You know, if you don't have something like that that brings you into other people's lives, it takes a long time to get to know people.
Coming home from a hike, you might wish that you had a reference that you could use to learn more about some of the wildflowers that you saw. And so I thought I'd show you part of my collection and tell you what I think are the pros and cons about each one. This is maybe the first one that I bought when I moved to the area. It is Central Rocky Mountain Wildflowers. And it's pretty good. And the thing that appealed to me as a new to the area person is that it's sorted by color. Now I don't think that's such a good idea because I really want to know more about what plants are related in families than I want to know about what color, and whether it's blue or purple can be kind of subjective, white or pink. But anyway, this is not a bad book to start with. There are a lot of these fold-outs that are available, and they also have the plants by color. This one is Wildflowers of the Northern Rocky Mountains. I believe I bought this at Craters of the Moon gift shop. The problem with it is, you know, there are not so many plants in here, and it includes a lot of things that may be common in Montana, but not here in Idaho. So not a bad thing to have in your pack, but maybe not the best thing to rely on. Plants of the Rocky Mountains, this Lone Pine book, is a really good book. And it looks like it's sorted by color, but it really isn't. Those are divisions. You have lichens, mosses, ferns, sedges, grasses, wildflowers, shrubs, and trees in here. So you have some of everything. And I've actually found some things in here that I couldn't find in any of my other picture books. This one is more specific. This is just about sagebrush plants. This is Sagebrush Country, a Wildflower Sanctuary by Ronald Taylor. I don't know whether this one is still in print, but if you can find a used copy, definitely this is a great one to have. I think this one also came from Craters of the Moon when it was purchased, but that was a number of years ago. Perhaps my favorite is Idaho Mountain Wildflowers by A. Scott Earl and Jane Lundeen. This is organized by families, and you have really nice pictures, a lot of them taken by Jane Lundeen, and family descriptions as well as really good descriptions about the plants and some tidbits of curiosity about them. So this is one of my favorites, and this also comes as a fold-out that's green that looks just like this. In the fold-out, the plants are not organized by family, they're organized by color, and the pictures are small, but it's a good reference to have in your pack. Then this is a newer book that I got at Craters of the Moon gift shop, one of my favorite gift shops. This is Wondering About Wildflowers, a wildflower guide for the Northern Rocky Mountains. And I find a lot of more unusual things in here. I'll just show you a page at random. Big pictures, lots of description and pronunciation hints, which can be very helpful. So those are some directions that you can go. There's also some really good apps, Wildflowers of Idaho, lots of others. You're always welcome to join with the Native Plant Society locally and go on our hikes and learn about wildflowers from us. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's presentation. Now you know a little bit about books, you learned about a couple of wildflowers, and please join us again another time. Thank you.